What is up, everybody? Fred Lam here, and today I'm with one of the closest dear friend, and I even call him a brother, a mentor of mine, to be here to actually have an interview to share with you guys one of the most important things that is really missing in our society today, not even in the industry, not even in our space. And I want to share the background story a little bit, but before I do so, I want to first introduce you to my really dear friend, my mentor, Anik Singal. Onic.
What's up, everyone?
Thank you,
Thank you, and welcome, everyone.
All right, so the purpose of this is I want to, as you guys all know, I try to do my best to empower students and people to become an entrepreneur. I share all my knowledge that I've been using for the past 13 years, and one of the best milestone that we have hit is that we've officially had students collectively crushing over $22 million online.
Wow.
Now,
it was 21 like a week ago.
Yes, it was 21 a week ago, and now it is 22 million online. Now, I wanted to share this with you, not saying, oh, come buy my stuff or do all these, or you gotta basically take my system, take my blueprints. That's not what it's all about, because listen, you guys all know that I have a free course out there. That free course is a crash course of my Zero Up program, which really allows anyone, literally anyone, if you've gone through it, you can actually start generating sales online, even if you've never have done so. But here's the problem. I have tens of thousands of people downloading my free course. But you know what? A lot of them just don't move forward. They just give me their email address. Even if I share them with stories, tell them a lot about what they should be doing, give them tips, they still do nothing.
Forget about the free course. Even a lot of people that buy your biggest course a lot don't do anything.
Yeah, and there's a big problem. Yeah. And that's a problem that's actually existing in our society today. Yeah. Now, we can't blame anyone for this, to be very, very honest. We can't blame the education system, we can't blame the government, because that's how society has been built. That's what we were being taught as we grow up, is to go through the education system and be really trained to go into the society and be part of it and be the norm.
Well, these norms were built at a time when they served the society. So we can't blame them, because when they were first created, they served the ultimate purpose. They worked. They were in favor of everybody. The outcomes were good. The problem is we've changed. I mean, forget about the last century. Just think the last decade. Forget the last decade. Just think the last 2 years. We think different. We work different. We act different. But our systems, we're still working off the same systems from a century ago. And I think that's where the problem lays. And so, yeah, you can't blame them. You're absolutely right. But, hey, we should change them.
Exactly. And you know what? Right now, there is something that's about to happen. And I am very honored, very privileged to be part of what is about to happen, which is Onic, really after serving over 250,000 students, he has really nailed down and discovered that, number one, there's a problem in our society, and because after he's able to coach over 250,000 students, he was able to really identify what is really happening in our society right now that is stopping you from basically doing what you want, getting the freedom that you want, becoming an entrepreneur, which, as we all know, entrepreneurs are the people that will change what is happening right now. And today, we want to actually share this book of Onic, which is called Escape. And when I heard the story behind it, it blew me away. Yeah. It absolutely blew me away. Thanks, and it really resonated with me because, again, as an Asian Chinese kid, mom and dad always say, go to school, get a job, and go and do great at it. Yeah. But in reality, right now, especially with the technology that we have, with all the free training and information that we have, especially even Learn Nation has a lot of free crash course. I have my own free crash course that really helps you become an entrepreneur. But what's missing, and the most important thing, is that we can all provide you the information, the vehicle, the knowledge. But one thing that absolutely needs to get changed, that we all, as an entrepreneur, needs to be more vocal about it, is how you get away from the mindset of being an entrepreneur, from an employee to being an entrepreneur. Yep. And I know that you talk a lot about this in this book, and can you actually share this? Because
Sure, okay. So here's the deal. He mentioned it before, 250,000. So 250,000 students I've taught in the last 15 years. Here's why I wrote this book, okay? So I'll go through all the mechanics and instruments. And here's the deal. If you don't want this book, don't buy it. It's fine. It's actually free. You just have to cover shipping. So if you're thinking, hey, this whole video is just about kind of the pitch, it's not. It really, for me, this book is about the message. And here's what the message is. I started to lose my mind at one point 3 years ago because we had so many students, tens of thousands. And so I'm looking at some of my students, and these guys are making millions. They're conquering the world. They're doing big things. I mean, you're one of them, right? You said initially that I mentored you. But the thing is, you were one of the easiest people I've ever had to teach anything because you have this. What we're going to talk about here. He has this. And so it just made the process of excelling as an entrepreneur so much easier. So I had to ask myself this. Why is it that some of my students are doing so well, so well, and crushing it, but the other large portion of students, same training, same tools, same coaching, same access, same everything, and they can't even make $1. So I started to research it. I started to meet with millionaires, billionaires with a B. Yes, I've met with billionaires, sat down. I started to study not only everyone else, but myself. I had 3 components to this research. First was me. I have that story, right? I started with $100 to my name. I don't come from an entrepreneurial background like yourself. I was taught the same thing. My biggest goal was to become a doctor. But then I took $100, I grew it to millions and millions, 10 million a year, and then I came crashing down. I fell 1.7 million in debt by the time I was 28. Just imagine that for a minute. My parents had to take a second mortgage on their home just to pay for my mistakes. And even talking about it today, I get emotional. But then when I put my foot down 16 months later, I paid it all back. Never declared bankruptcy, never left a single person hanging, paid everybody back with interest. Why? How was I able to do that? How was I able to propel back to the top in 16 months when there are students out there, lines and lines of students who can't even make $1 online? Then the second component was my students, 250,000 students, out of which some have become millionaires, multimillionaires, some have surpassed me, while so many are sitting exactly in the same spot. So I researched them. I spoke to my successful students. I spoke to my non-successful students equally. Then the third thing is I looked at all the household names, the biggest entrepreneurs, the biggest success stories, and I looked and researched them as well. And from that came this right here, this logo. Most people just think it's a creative name. There's actually so much in this logo. So you see the little E goes to the big E, and that little swing is how to go from employee to entrepreneur. Now, what I discovered in my research were core characteristics, behavior tactics that were similar, that were shared amongst the most successful entrepreneurs, amongst the ones that made millions. And so it came down, I was able to group it into basically 4 stages of entrepreneurial growth. And if you look at the back of the book, now again, this book, by the way, okay, it's free. I go into losses every time someone gets this book. I just want you to pay for shipping and handling to show me that you got some skin in the game, that you'll read the book, right? Otherwise, it's about the mission. So you'll see. I call this the escape triangle, okay? You may not be able to see it too carefully, but or too closely, and we'll zoom in, but the base here is employee, right? Because most of the people in the world are an employee. That's what our systems are built. Our educational systems are built to churn out and pump out employees, right? Okay, nothing wrong with that. But a certain portion then move into what I call the S, right? So the S, that stands for self. And that is literally where the personal development industry comes from. That's why it's such a big industry. Yeah. And then less and less people make it through each of these stages. Stage 2 is C, right? So C is catapult, right? Creating momentum. Less and less people make it through that to A, which is authority. So that's stage 3 right here, the A. And then P is the last final frontier to entrepreneurial success. And that is people. And that's the toughest one, because this involves emotions and people in your life, right? And I'll tell you something, the advice that I give in all of these, I give 5 characteristics in each of these. I give you the tools that you need to measure yourself, to qualify yourself, to quantify yourself on how you're doing in each of these. This book actually has a quiz that it gives you. It's an assessment that takes 45 minutes to do that literally will dissect you on all of these elements and give you a personal, individualized roadmap on what you need to do in order to climb up that ladder, to get up this triangle to entrepreneurial success. So that, all of that really is in this book. And this was the third writing of it. I threw the first two out. This was literally my legacy project. I told my wife in a joke, I said, I want my tombstone when I pass away to say, great husband, great father, wrote Escape. That would mean the world to me, because this for me is about the message that we're delivering in the book. Last thing, that I discovered, Fred, that was amazing is that the definition of entrepreneur has changed. Mm-hmm. What an entrepreneur is. So when you pull up Webster's, you look at Webster's definition, they have two components to it. And I disagree with both. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow, here's a successful entrepreneur who hangs out with very successful entrepreneurs who disagrees with the core definition in the dictionary of the word entrepreneur. The first part of the definition was a person who runs their own business. Well, guess what? In today's day and age, I know you're a gamer, right? You love gaming?
Yep.
This guy's awesome at gaming, by the way, kicking my butt just yesterday. Well, Sony PlayStation was invented by what they call an intrapreneur. This was an individual who took his daughter's Nintendo system and started tinkering with it. He didn't like it, thought it didn't work well enough. What eventually came out of it was a Sony PlayStation. He worked for Sony. He became an intrapreneur. Google, who has a Google Mail account? Intrapreneur. Google AdSense, which made Google what they are today, intrapreneur. Amazon, Yahoo, Microsoft, Netflix, you name the biggest companies coming out of the West Coast, intrapreneurs. They don't want employees anymore. They give you free time to explore. So I found out that first definition is not true. You can be an entrepreneur and work within a larger organization. We here at Learn, we don't hire employees. We hire intrapreneurs, right? Okay, the second part of the definition was someone who takes abnormally high amounts of risk for a return. Mm-hmm. That's just dumb, all right? I think any time in your life you take an abnormal amount of risk, it's dumb. And every successful entrepreneur I've ever spoken to, they never take. What's the joke I have with you, right? Every idea you have, bam, Excel file. He's got it down to the specifics, so he knows his numbers. And what we as successful entrepreneurs always know how to do is recoup we know how to recoup our investment. We always have plan B, C, D, E, F, G. Now, does that come because we took some class in college?
Nope.
No, it's here. It's a part of the process. We learn how to take calculated risks. That's A. It comes in stage 3. All right, but our risks are not risks. They are calculated, well thought out, strategic decisions. But we're not taught to do these things in school because we won't need to, right? They're pumping out an employee. An employee doesn't need to do that. They don't need to be strategic because they're told what to do. And the truth is, we're all born entrepreneurs. I have proof of that, and I can talk about that, but we're all born entrepreneurs. It's actually our systems that beat it out of us. So if you want to return back to your natural state of being, it's actually what I share in this book.
Thank you. And I think one thing is that what really inspired me and what is actually making me actually fly down here to actually have this interview with you is really because of two folds. Number one, the mission. I want you to share the mission of what you're trying to do because, listen, Onic actually lose money every time you guys grab this book for free, but he's doing this because there is a bigger purpose behind it, and I really wanted you to share that.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked about that because I love to take that opportunity to share. So, okay, we got this book here, Escape, right? But this is just a small part of the large organization and a large thing we're doing here. So my company's name is Learn, and we don't have a mission, we don't have a vision. We have a purpose. It's simple. We keep it very simple. Our purpose is to be the transformational home for entrepreneurs, to be the transformational home for entrepreneurs. Now, there's some really trigger words in there. There's 3 key words in there, okay? First one is transformational. Here's the thing, guys. A lot of people want to become an entrepreneur. I totally get it. If you're in that place right now and you want to be an entrepreneur, well, guess what? There's no systems. The educational system isn't built for that. All right, so transform yourself. You have to transform who you are, how you think, how you behave in order to succeed. So we want to be the home for that. Second word is home, right? It's one of the most lonely businesses to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It really is. We are so busy trying to make our ends meet that we don't have time to support one another, right? Well, think about this. If you're an engineer, a doctor, a developer, an accountant, you go to work every day and you hang out all day with peers. You're part of professional organizations and all of these amazing things. So you're around people like yourself to learn from, to share with, to commune with. We don't have that. So I wanted a place where when you walk in the door, everyone in that room is as crazy as you. When you close that door behind you, everyone in there is supporting you. Everyone in there understands you. So we built a 26,000 square foot facility for entrepreneurs. We built a physical home and we built a virtual home online where entrepreneurs can get as much training. And I wrote, and we have books like this to really bring entrepreneurs together. So our purpose is to be the transformational home for entrepreneurs. We want to help pull 1 million entrepreneurs out of extreme poverty. We want to empower 1 million entrepreneurs in places like East Africa, in Asia, in South America, to help them change not only their lives, their families' lives. So you can hear it right now. I could go on, I could keep talking about this for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
This book is just about the message. That's all we're trying to do. That's all you know what? I get so much pride out of knowing that I had a hand in your success, even if it was tiny, because he's gone out and his students have now done what? You said $22 million. He's changing the lives of his students. That's amazing.
Yeah, and listen, at the end of the day right now, like this book, I promise you, you guys right now, you're watching this because you want to learn how to build a business online, you want to become an entrepreneur, but you need to actually have the knowledge of what it really means to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
The stages that you would need to go through, because what you have been taught cannot be untaught in the education system.
Simple, right? Let me just summarize it all in one sentence.
Yeah.
They tell us it's not what you know, it's who you know. We hear that all the time growing up, right? As an entrepreneur. It's not what you know, it's who you know. I'm here for first official time to contest that statement. I don't think it's true. It's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who you are. And that's what this book focuses on. It focuses on who an entrepreneur is, what an entrepreneur is. Until you have that down, you can know everyone in the world, and it won't make a difference.
That is absolutely true. And seriously, guys, go grab this book. I don't care if you get the free copy or you go to Amazon to buy this doesn't matter. I would get you to get the free one, right?
Yeah.
You just pay shipping.
Yeah.
And listen, this
All over the
book,
world.
I guarantee you, will change your life, especially for those of you that are right now stuck, thinking that you can never become an entrepreneur. But if you go through this book, you will learn the stages and the exact stages that even I myself and many of the people that I even know, millionaires, that really gone through from the old education system, going through this.
Yeah.
And Onic just basically become vocal and put everything that he's known, every person that he's met into this book, and how the real way of becoming an entrepreneur is. So seriously, like this gives me goosebumps when you told me the story each time. And I would seriously hope that you guys go grab this and go ahead and start diving into it and really apply what you're going to learn inside this book.
Thank you.
So thank you, Anik.
Thanks, man. Always an
very much.
honor. Yeah. Go out there, make it happen, guys. Like I always say, when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, and push it the heck back.
Peace out, guys.